Good morning, folks, and thank you very much for joining us again. This is Father Marcus from the Costa Blanca Anglican Chaplaincy, doing presentations on YouTube purely because we can't all gather together. But as you know, things are changing. They're changing rapidly here in Spain and elsewhere. What a week this is going to be. Today, tomorrow, we're at the summer solstice. It's an incredible time, and it's when we have the longest day and the shortest night. And it's a big celebration. It is a big celebration for all sorts of people. The pagans have a bit of a grasp on it, and they love it. And there is a sense that the pagans feel that it's in this great solstice moment when summer begins and the earth is tilted closest to the sun and we have our longest day, that the pagans' gods reveal themselves and show themselves during the shortness of this night. Well, I have to tell them that it's not their gods only that reveals himself. Our God, it's really difficult saying our God and their God. The God that Christians believe in reveals himself in a whole range of different ways, not only today, not only tonight, but throughout the course of every day. And you know and I know that if we open our hearts and minds, we can see evidence of God at work in our lives today. So we've got the summer solstice. Summer officially begins. It's also the beginning of a holiday season. There is, from this weekend, more movement allowed around Spain, and it will be that tourists from other parts of Spain will come and visit wherever it is that we are based in Spain, and hopefully there will be international travel coming relatively soon, and that will be such a delight for families to get together again and for tourists to have a holiday and have a break and see some of the wonder and the beauty of this land in which I live and many of you live as well. So that will be different. And then tomorrow, Sunday, is also Father's Day, when children of fathers give thanks to for their fathers for all that they've done and shared and taught and been with them. And it's going to be one of those difficult times because at the moment there will be many of us fathers separated from our children. And we will Skype and we will message and we will contact one another, but what we won't be doing is hugging and kissing and just being close. But it's still a big day, and for Christians we have to remember that every day is our Father's Day, and we have so much to give thanks to God for. And then this coming week we have here in Spain the great feast of San Juan. And the big celebrations that traditionally happen on the eve of San Juan. I have it on good authority that some of the beaches in Calpe will be open for celebrations as normal, but they will be imposing, of course, social distancing, and we will need to be wearing masks and keeping ourselves a little bit to ourselves. But there's great traditions attached to this festival, and it's to do with fire and water. Very often there are bonfires built along the beach, and the bonfire will be there burning away, and the tradition is that those who feel able to and want to and can do leap over the fire, and the tradition is that they leap over it 3 times, and that fire is representative of the cleansing refiner's fire, to burn off our sin, to burn off the things that we want to rid ourselves of and to cleanse us. It's a cleansing thing. And then it's to do with water as well. And we go into the sea, we go into the shallows of the sea. It recuperates and enlivens us and again cleanses us. And fire and water, great symbols. And it's something lovely to witness because families do this together. And when I've been down onto the beach for previous celebrations of San Juan, families have just included me. They don't know me from Adam, but they've seen me there along with members of my family, and they've got their feast, and every time someone has come over and shared what they have, because it means a lot to the people who are celebrating this tradition. And of course, we approach this tradition very soon after Pentecost, when we have that fire of this presence of the Holy Spirit coming and resting on those disciples' heads and transforming them and ridding them of their fear and their anxiety and their ego and their concern, and enabling them to go out and tell the great things that God has done. So we have that feast on June the 23rd. So there's an awful lot going on, both spiritually and socially and locally and emotionally. With all this transition and joy, we may get ourselves into a sense of euphoria. We may think, great, it's wonderful. We can travel around now. We can get together with people. We can go to the bars and the pubs and restaurants and go back to churches. Just to be plugged here, the churches on the Costa Blanca, Anglican chaplaincy, most of them are opening on Sunday the 5th of July. But here's a word of warning. Just because they're open doesn't mean to say that you have to go. Only go if you feel absolutely comfortable. We will be observing all the restrictions and the health practices, and we will be wearing masks, and we will be sanitizing, and we will be cleaning the churches in between services. So if you want to come, you'll be very welcome, but there is absolutely no pressure. Denia Church is not opening until September, and Javier Church is having its services on Wednesdays at 10:30, but the rest of us are going back as normal. But all the point of all of this is that we are in a position of excitement and change and looking forward with hope and expectation that things are going to be different. But here's the thing. In our readings today, or tomorrow, that we would have in church, Jesus throws in the midst of a great deal of joy a sense of reality. And he knows that there are consequences to his teaching, which is why he ends up on the cross. You know, he gets us to think about others before ourselves, and he gets us to forgive, just to forgive. And there will be people who don't want to think about others first. They want to think about themselves or their families first. And there will be people who don't want to forgive because they're not ready to forgive yet. And when Jesus calls us to embrace everybody, there will be people who don't want to embrace others. They want to keep themselves to themselves. And the consequence of that was, of course, Jesus ended up on the cross, and there have been divisions. And so it's with that in mind that in the gospel that we would hear tomorrow, Jesus talks about the consequences of his message, and there will be issues as a result of it. And it's very fitting that we hear that at the moment, because the reality is that there is going to be a loosening of our restrictions. There is going to be more travel. There is going to be more gatherings. There are going to be people who are meeting. There is going to be joy. But the virus is still around, and we do need to be cautious, because there will be consequences if we don't. If we get caught up in the moment and let go of our concerns about health and well-being, then there will be consequences. And Jesus is very much aware of those. And the great joy of all of this is it just makes us realise that our faith is rational. It makes sense. Jesus, when he talks, is very realistic. He knows how people are likely to respond. And his message of love and peace and reconciliation is the perfect message. It's the message that the world constantly wants to hear and needs to hear again and again. But he knows, and we know, that sometimes it falls on deaf ears. Well, my friends, we've got this special weekend. We've got the summer solstice. We've got the idea that God is going to reveal himself. We've got the idea that it's Father's Day, or our Father's Day. Every day is our Father's Day. We've got the beauty of being able to travel around our countryside and walk in the mountains and embrace God in the whole wonder and awe of creation. We can get together with more people, but we need to be careful and we need to be realistic. But our churches are opening soon. And what I'm going to say is bless you, bless you, bless you. Take it easy, look after one another, check out your family and your friends, make sure they're doing okay, and be at peace in your own skin. Until next time.